Right. So there's your heading. Now, before we put any pen to paper, I sort of mentioned this last couple of lessons, but let me say it again, okay? Some of you have already met or heard about or read about integration and integrals, okay? Now, I just want to do a quick survey. Hands up who has, even if you have no understanding of what it is, hands up if you've heard of those terms before. Yeah? Okay, all right, now keep your hand up if you actually know something about them, like how to get one, what they refer to, that kind of thing. Hands straight up so I can see. That's okay. All right, thank you. Hands down. Now, I assume a lot of you will have, okay? And I think at this point in the course I had as well. Now, let me try and explain why I'm not going to talk about integration at all until next term. Apart from the whole fact that, Board of Studies says I ought not to, okay? Because you guys are still primitive students. Primitives and integrals, okay? A lot of people, at least the people who had their hands up just now, who know a bit about these, might feel like these are really similar to each other, okay, which is kind of right. You might think they're the same, okay. You might have even been taught they're the same thing, okay. Now here's the thing. If you feel like they're the same thing, this is a failure of the education you have received, or the teacher who taught you that they're the same, okay. Because in fact, it's one of the biggest mysteries in maths, right, that these two things actually have anything to do with each other, okay. So sort of, if you ever, sat down in the class, or you read something, or you watched something, and they taught you, okay, there's this thing, and there's this thing, and they're much the same. It's a little bit like, in a movie where there's like, there's a good guy and a bad guy, but the bad guy, you only find out he's the bad guy at like very, very close to the end, right? It's kind of like a big reveal, and everyone's like, what? No? Are you serious? It's kind of like sorry, I'm going to spoil something. It's kind of like Snape. Right? So, spoilers, so Snape, well, tough, okay? It's too many years in advance. So Snape's a good guy, right? But the whole way through the series, everyone's like,
it's the opposite.
Oh, really? And when you finally get the reveal, right? And everything clicks, you're like, really? That's who he is? That's his identity? Well, you can't grab a sheet. Okay. And then you have to go back and rewatch everything. You're like, oh, my mind's, exploding, okay? Now imagine if in the very first book, okay, the very first movie, whichever you watched, okay, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, he's a good guy. Actually, he's like, the whole story like turns on him. Maybe someone did this to you. It kind of, like, the story is still okay, but it spoils much of the drama and what makes it interesting, right? So, there's a big mathematical journey that we have to go on to try and show the connection between these two, okay? So I'm going to deal with these, and we'll deal with these, I'll introduce them properly next term. If you feel like these are the same, I need you to try and unlearn some of that, okay? So that we can give this topic its proper introduction. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah? Alright. So now that I've told you I'm not going to talk about this, let me put it up.